What if discipline is not about forcing yourself, but freeing your mind? What if the chaos you feel comes from thoughts you never trained? And what if learning to discipline your mind is the key to lasting peace? Discipline is not just about pushing yourself to do things you dislike. It is about training your mind to work for you instead of against you. It is about building habits that serve you, thoughts that empower you, and a mindset that moves you forward. Your mind is like a garden. When a garden is left unattended, weeds begin to grow. Those weeds are negative thoughts, doubts, and fears that quietly take over when you are not paying attention. But here's the good news. You are the gardener. You have the power to pull out those weeds and replace them with nourishing, constructive thoughts. Now, some of you might be thinking, that sounds good, but how do I actually do that? I am glad you asked, because that is exactly what we are going to explore. First, let us talk about the power of your thoughts. Your thoughts shape your reality. This is not just a motivational phrase. It is a fundamental truth. What you focus on expands. If your focus is always on problems, you will continue to see problems. But when you focus on solutions, opportunities, and growth, your life begins to reflect that focus. The first step in disciplining your mind is awareness. Start paying attention to that voice inside your head. Is it encouraging you or constantly criticizing you? Is it focused on what could go right or always worried about what could go wrong? Here is a simple exercise. Over the next week, carry a small notebook with you. Each time you catch a negative thought, write it down. At the end of the week, read through what you wrote. You may be surprised by how repetitive those thoughts are, and how many are rooted in fear rather than fact. Awareness is only the beginning. Once you become aware of your thoughts, you gain the ability to change them. And that is where real transformation begins. Your mind works like a muscle. The way you use it most is the way it becomes strongest. If you have been practicing negative thinking for years, your mind has simply become very good at it. But the same principle works in your favor. Every time you interrupt a negative thought and choose a better one, you begin retraining your mind, one moment at a time. When a negative thought shows up, pause. Take a deep breath, then consciously replace it with a better one. It may feel forced at first, but you are creating new habits, and habits require time and repetition. Here is an example. You are working on a project, and the thought appears, I'm not good enough to do this. Stop. Take that breath. Then replace it with, I'm learning and growing with every challenge I face. Notice the difference. One thought defeats you before you even start. The other gives you momentum to keep going. Now, I can almost hear the question. But what if things really are going wrong? What if the problems are real? Of course they are. We all have problems. Life is not about avoiding them. It is about how you approach them. Here is a powerful shift. Start seeing problems as opportunities. Opportunities to learn, to grow, to become stronger. Every successful person you admire faced problems. The difference was how they chose to see them. There is a story about two shoe salesmen sent to Africa to assess the market. One reported that no one wore shoes and saw no future. The other saw a huge opportunity because no one had shoes yet. Same situation, completely different perspective. Guess who was more likely to succeed? That is the power of disciplining your mind. It is training yourself to see opportunity instead of defeat, solutions instead of problems, and to trust your ability to handle whatever comes your way. Now let us talk about another crucial part of mental discipline, setting goals. Your mind needs direction. Without clear goals, it drifts like a ship with no destination. But goals must be specific and written down. Vague goals create vague results. Saying, I want to be successful, is a wish. Saying, I want to increase my income by 20% this year by gaining 3 high-value clients, is a goal. Write your goals down. Putting them on paper sends a signal to your subconscious that this matters. Read them every morning and every night, because what you focus on expands. When your goals stay in front of you, your mind begins looking for ways to reach them. But here is where many people fail. They set goals and wait for them to happen. That is not how it works. Goals without action are just daydreams. This is where discipline truly shows up. Discipline is doing what needs to be done even when you do not feel like doing it. If your goal is to write a book, discipline means sitting down to write every day, whether you feel inspired or not. It is about building a routine, a pattern of action, that moves you closer to your goal, step by step. Now I know what some of you may be thinking. I've tried to be disciplined before. I start strong, then I lose motivation. And that is exactly the point. Motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes. You cannot build a life on motivation alone. You build it on discipline. Discipline is what gets you out of bed early to work on your goals before the world wakes up. Discipline is what keeps you moving forward when others give up. Discipline is what turns ideas into results. And here's the good news. The more you practice discipline, the easier it becomes. Like a muscle, it grows stronger with use. As you begin to see results from your disciplined actions, that success fuels more success. Now let us talk about another critical part of disciplining your mind, your environment. Your environment has a powerful influence on your thoughts and behavior. If you are constantly surrounded by negativity, maintaining a positive mindset becomes much harder. You have to be intentional about creating an environment that supports both your goals and your peace of mind. This means being selective about the people you spend time with, the information you consume, and the spaces you occupy. Surround yourself with people who support you and believe in what you are building. Limit exposure to negative news and social media that fill your mind with unnecessary worry. Create a physical space that encourages calm and productivity. You become like the people you spend the most time with. If you want success, spend time with successful people. If you want positivity, be around those who lift you up. Your environment shapes you, so shape it carefully. Another powerful tool for disciplining your mind is gratitude. Gratitude opens the door to peace and contentment. When you are truly grateful, stress and anxiety lose their grip. But gratitude is not only about appreciating good moments. It is about developing appreciation for all of life, the good, the difficult, and everything in between. Start each day by naming a few things you are grateful for. They do not have to be big. It might be the warmth of the sun, a quiet moment, or the simple ability to move and breathe. The more you practice gratitude, the more reasons you will find to feel grateful. When challenges arise, and they will, look for something to appreciate even there. Perhaps it is a lesson or a chance to grow. This does not deny difficulty. It shifts your focus. Gratitude trains your mind to look for the positive, and when your focus changes, so does your experience of life. Now let us talk about the power of your words. The language you use, both in your self-talk and with others, directly shapes your mindset and results. Pay attention to how you speak. Phrases like, I can't, it's too hard, or I'm not good enough slowly undermine your confidence. Instead, choose empowering language. Replace I can't with how can I? Replace it's too hard with this is challenging and I can handle it. Your words either limit you or strengthen you. Choose the ones that move you forward. Replace I'm not good enough with I'm improving every day. This is not about denying reality or pretending everything is perfect. It is about choosing a perspective that empowers you instead of defeating you. The language you use can either open doors or quietly close them. And this does not stop with the words you say to yourself. The words you speak to others matter too. Gossip, constant complaining, and negative talk do not just affect the people around you. They affect you. They reinforce a negative mindset and keep your attention locked on problems instead of solutions. Make a conscious choice to speak with encouragement, appreciation, and positivity. You will notice your relationships improve, and at the same time, your mind becomes trained to look for the good in every situation. Now let us talk about continuous learning. One of the most effective ways to discipline your mind is to keep it open. Your mind works best when it stays curious and engaged. Read books. Listen to new ideas. Expose yourself to different perspectives and ways of thinking. This does more than expand your knowledge. It keeps your mind flexible and adaptable. In a world that is constantly changing, the ability to learn and adapt is more valuable than ever. The moment you stop learning, growth slows. But when you commit to lifelong learning, you continue to move forward. And the more you learn, the more you realize how much there is still to discover. This builds humility and curiosity, two qualities that support both peace of mind and personal growth. There is another part of mental discipline that is often overlooked: rest and renewal. Discipline does not mean pushing yourself until you are exhausted. It means balance. It means knowing when to push and when to pause. Your mind, like your body, needs time to recover and recharge. Without proper rest, focus fades, energy drops, and productivity suffers. That is why it is essential to build rest into your routine. This may mean getting enough sleep, taking short breaks during the day, or setting aside time each week for activities that restore you. Rest is not laziness. It is part of the process. It is during moments of rest that your mind processes what you have learned, integrates experience, and prepares you for what comes next. Now let us talk about visualization and mental discipline. Visualization is a form of mental rehearsal. It is the practice of creating clear, detailed images of what you want to achieve. Athletes use this all the time. Before a competition, they picture themselves performing at their best, handling pressure, and reaching the finish line. Research shows this kind of mental practice can be nearly as effective as physical training. You can use this in your own life. If you want to deliver a strong presentation at work, visualize yourself standing with confidence, speaking clearly, and connecting with your audience. If you want better relationships, picture yourself listening attentively, communicating calmly, and resolving tension with understanding. The more vivid your visualization, the more powerful it becomes. Engage your senses. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you feel? When your mind experiences it clearly, your subconscious begins working to make it real. Now let us address something everyone struggles with at some point: setbacks and failure. No matter how disciplined your mind is, obstacles will appear. Disappointments will happen. The difference is not whether setbacks occur, but how you respond to them. Instead of seeing failure as the end, start seeing it as feedback. Every setback carries information. It shows you what does not work so you can adjust and move forward. That is the mindset of a disciplined mind. When a setback happens, ask yourself what you can learn from it and how it can make you stronger. This shift turns discouragement into growth. Now consider the role of habits in mental discipline. Your life is largely shaped by what you do repeatedly. The small choices and actions you take every day slowly determine your direction. The power of habits is that once they are established, they no longer require constant effort. They become automatic. This is why building supportive habits is essential. Start small. Maybe it is reading for 15 minutes each morning or writing down a few things you are grateful for before bed. Commit to doing it daily. Over time, these habits compound. What begins as a small practice grows into a powerful routine that reshapes your mindset and your life. Success is built from simple disciplines practiced consistently. Failure comes from small mistakes repeated over time. The difference is not one big decision, but the habits you choose to live by every day. Now let us turn to an important challenge of modern life: managing your relationship with technology. Technology brings many benefits, but without boundaries, it can quickly become a source of distraction and mental clutter. Constant notifications and endless scrolling pull your attention away from what truly matters. Social media, constant notifications, and the pressure to always stay connected can quietly fragment your attention and raise your stress levels. A distracted and stressed mind cannot experience peace. That is why disciplining your mind today also means setting healthy boundaries with technology. This might look like creating tech-free hours during the day, turning off notifications that are not essential, or committing to a digital break once a week. The goal is not to reject technology, but to use it intentionally. Technology should serve you, not control you. When you are working, be fully present with your work. When you are with people you care about, give them your full attention. Use technology as a tool, not a constant distraction. Now let us talk about forgiveness. Holding on to anger, resentment, or grudges is like carrying a heavy weight. It drains your energy, clouds your thinking, and steals your peace. Forgiveness is not about excusing what happened or pretending it did not matter. It is about freeing yourself from the emotional burden tied to it. Forgiveness is a gift you give yourself. This applies not only to forgiving others, but also to forgiving yourself. Many people are far harder on themselves than on anyone else. They replay past mistakes again and again, believing that self-criticism will somehow help. It does not. It only keeps you stuck. Learning to forgive yourself clears mental space and opens the door to growth and peace. Another essential part of mental discipline is aligning your actions with your values. True peace comes when your outer life matches your inner beliefs. Take time to reflect on what truly matters to you. Is it family, integrity, growth, or contribution? Once you are clear on your values, let them guide your decisions. When your actions align with your values, you experience authenticity and purpose. You become less influenced by outside opinions and social pressure because you are grounded in a strong internal foundation. As we continue this exploration, let us look at emotional intelligence. Developing emotional intelligence means learning to recognize, understand, and manage your emotions while also being able to empathize with others. This skill is essential for maintaining peace, especially during challenging moments. It begins with self-awareness. Throughout your day, pause and notice what you are feeling and why. That simple awareness gives you the power to respond thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively. Take time to check in with yourself. Ask what you are feeling and why you are feeling that way. Do not judge your emotions. Simply observe them. This practice helps you recognize emotional patterns and triggers. Once you become aware of what you feel, you gain the ability to manage those emotions more effectively. When a strong emotion arises, pause. Take a deep breath and give yourself a moment before reacting. Ask yourself whether this emotion is serving you and whether there is a more constructive way to respond. You may not always control what happens around you, but you can always control how you respond. That is the heart of emotional intelligence and a disciplined mind. Now let us talk about mindfulness and its role in cultivating peace. Mindfulness is the practice of being fully present in the moment without judgment. It means focusing on what is happening right now instead of getting lost in worries about the future or regrets about the past. You do not need special conditions to practice mindfulness. You can bring it into everyday life. When you eat, notice the taste and texture of your food. When you walk, feel your feet touching the ground. When you speak with someone, give them your full attention. These small moments of presence quiet the constant noise of the mind. They bring you back to the present. And it is in the present moment where true peace exists. As we come to the end of this message, remember that disciplining your mind is not a destination. It is a lifelong journey. There will be progress and setbacks, clarity and confusion. What matters is continuing to move forward, continuing to learn, and continuing to grow. Peace of mind is not about living a perfect life. It is about having the mental and emotional tools to face life with grace and resilience. It is about training your mind to focus on what truly matters, to find opportunity in difficulty, and to maintain inner calm even when circumstances are challenging. So I challenge you, starting today, commit to disciplining your mind. Begin with small steps. Be patient with yourself. Celebrate your progress, and remember that every moment offers a new opportunity to choose peace. You already have everything you need to create a life of peace, purpose, and fulfillment. It all begins with discipline in your mind. I wish you good health, happiness, and peace on your journey. And do not forget to subscribe to Mindset Daily so we can continue growing together.